What makes your studio stand out from your competition? If a parent in your area searched for music lessons today and found your studio alongside 3 competitors, what would make them choose you? On this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, Mandy and I are talking about what it actually means to stand out in a competitive market. Listing things like qualified instructors, flexible scheduling, and fun music lessons just isn't enough because nearly every studio says that. The real conversation is about finding what makes your studio genuinely different, telling that story in a compelling way, and building an identity and community presence that creates emotional connection before a family even walks through your door. This episode is equal parts marketing strategy and honest self-reflection about what your music lesson studio actually stands for. Stay tuned. If you're a guitar instructor and you've used one of the dozen or so popular method books, you've probably noticed that gap between what's in the books and what students actually want to learn. Most guitar students want to play their favorite songs, and that means strumming, chord changes, timing. If that stuff is even in those method books, it's usually way in the back. I put together the exercises in Complete Guitar Strumming to cover the foundational concepts that all guitar students need, but in a practical way that applies to their goals, which is playing their favorite songs. For instructors, the book comes with an instructor companion guide that walks you through best practices for teaching. I even have training videos that I've used with my own staff that you can access as well. The guide and the videos are free for anyone who wants to use the book for teaching. If you want to get really deep and understand the origins of the book, you can go listen to episode 50 of this podcast or just head over to rockschoolproprietor.com/book for all the details. Welcome to Rock School Proprietor Podcast. My name's John Kazicki.
And I'm Mandy York.
Mandy, you had posed the question to me. I think you posed the question to me. Was this in our brainstorming? Was this your question to me? What makes your studio stand out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that you brought up the question. And I've been sitting with it for probably a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Since we had that conversation.
Yes.
This is not an easy one.
No. And I think, we haven't been able to dive into the topic yet, but it can be like a really broad topic. I've got some specific ideas about how I've been thinking about this. I think it came up, I believe from a podcast I listened to, one of the dozens that I had listened to, but then also because I have some competition that's just moved into town, another licensed early childhood music program.
Yeah.
We've talked about that extensively, and we've got episodes on, how to deal with competition.
Yeah, short
handle it.
Focus on you. Focus on you. Spend your time focusing on yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm in a good place and I'm not worried, but it made me think about, okay, so if I'm a parent in the community,
right? Yeah.
What makes music time stand out? Why choose us over someone else?
Yeah.
I think that's where it came from for me.
Yes. This is a difficult topic because, well, for one, I view this as a marketing thing. This is a marketing problem.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different factors, I think, that can play into this. So from the perspective of, as you were saying, from the perspective of a parent who might choose your program or another program, it's challenging because everyone has different qualifiers, different things they're looking at. When I was thinking about this topic, and just to kind of put it out there, I think regular listeners know, oftentimes we'll come up with topics, we'll brainstorm together and say like, hey, let's talk about this. And then we go to our separate corners and we interpret how we're going to, how John would tackle this challenge. And then you're working on how Mandy would tackle this challenge. And then we come together and talk about it. So there's really not a lot of discussion between us until we're these calls. So we're sort of figuring it out as we go. But looking at it from that perspective of the parent, we can only do sort of our best guess about what each individual parent is going to be looking for. But it did get me thinking first about, I guess, features of music schools, like what we offer. And it's like base level what we offer. I mean, obviously your studio is a little different than my studio. You're dealing with a different age group. So that's a differentiator. But if I'm looking at like the broad category of a lesson studio, right? Lesson provider, there's going to be a whole like table stakes list. And by table stakes, I mean minimum requirements and features that all studios are going to offer. So I thought about that first because it's like we have to have those. We have to include those in, say, our website, and we have to offer this base level of things, but that's not enough, if that makes sense. So I'll read my list that I scrolled down here.
Okay.
A lot of times you see things like lessons for all ages and skill levels. Like we offer lessons for all ages and all skill levels, and that's super broad. Yeah. It's probably correct, but there's nothing unique about that. Nothing that makes you stand out. Qualified instructors, again, should hope so.
Same, yeah.
Customized lessons. Oh, this one, we've talked about this one. Fun music lessons.
Fun. We love that word.
It's like everyone's using that now.
Yeah.
Although, quick side note, I have to put this out there. This was a couple of years ago. I was just scrolling on social media, and this is super niche and super weird of me, but I'm part of some vintage drum groups on Facebook. And there's one specific drum shop somewhere in the Northeast, and it's like very old school, but they have like all this great vintage drum stuff. And they made this Facebook post once about lessons. It's like, it was almost like the we make music lessons fun. It was like, if you sign up for lessons with us, you're going to learn how to read. You're going to learn how to play.
Yeah.
It was just so bitter.
They're just keeping it real.
Yeah.
They're weeding out the
no
clients
fluff,
they don't.
No fun. Okay, but I digress. So fun music lessons is another one. Flexible schedule. I think people sort of expect flexibility in schedule at this point. In-person or online options available. Post-COVID, I think most people have the ability or are offering both. If your studio is like mine, where you offer lessons on multiple instruments, that's not a unique feature, is what I'm saying. Like, yes, you have to mention all this stuff. Recital opportunities is another one. Yeah, you have to mention all this stuff, but there's nothing unique and nothing outstanding about those.
Right. Like you said, baseline.
Yeah, table stakes. It's like a bare minimum. So I guess part of this conversation is to just put that right out there in the front end. Yes, you offer all this stuff. Yes, you have to say you offer all this stuff. There's nothing unique about it and nothing that makes you stand out because you're offering this stuff.
Right. Because the studio in the next town is offering the same thing too.
Yeah, or the studio down the street or whatever. Yeah.
So what makes you different, right? That's what you really want to focus on and put out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, this comes from your real world.
Yeah.
What have you come to? What have you landed on with your studio?
The things I've been thinking about. Well, if we take my real world example, my studio is a dedicated music studio. Okay. So that's all we do, right? It is our specialty. It's our focus. My competition is adding, a few of these music and movement classes from a national licensed competitor.
Yeah.
Right. To an existing children's it's not a music studio. They offer different children's activities.
Yeah, let me frame this
Okay.
a different way because I'll take it out of your personal experience.
Yeah.
My daughter no longer does gymnastics, but when she was at the gymnastics gym had the space right next to it and was offering karate. And then they
Oh,
started
yeah.
offering
Sure.
Ninja Warrior, and then they started offering music lessons, so
Mm-hmm.
there's this broad range of kid-focused activities. And that, as a parent, speaks to convenience,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
My kid is already doing gymnastics here. My other kid wants to do music. I'm here. Let's just see if we can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that may be very effective
Yeah.
for parents who are really looking for that convenience.
And those venues are taking advantage of the spaces that they have, right?
Yes.
Let's offer this also. They're trying to reach out to a broader audience. I get it.
Right. But I will say that a client that seeks out something based on convenience will also drop that as soon as it becomes inconvenient
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. And we've talked about that too. Like if the other activity schedule changes, right? Oh no, it just doesn't work anymore, right? There's got to be something more compelling about staying there. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. That's what we're getting into. Like, what is the core reason? What is the uniqueness about this? Because convenience, there's nothing unique about convenience. And plus we can't control it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
You hit it on the head. Exactly. And so that's one of the main things I've kind of been thinking about lately is our expertise, I guess,
Okay.
in what we do, right?
Yeah.
And kind of positioning myself personally as like a local expert on early childhood music development.
Yeah.
And we focus, like we've said many times before, on parent education too. The classes that I give are not just for the kids, but they are to educate parents on what's happening during these early childhood years and how they can support their kids at home and all of that great stuff. So focusing on that, I think, sets us apart a bit. Part of how I do that is through the social media channels, through our website. And then also, this is another bullet point, I think, on how we set ourselves apart is being in the community.
Yeah. So now you're veering into, like, in my categories, I broke things down into features and then marketing choices. And you're already in like that second category, marketing choices, which is great.
Yes.
That's okay. No, that's good. Circle back on the expertise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The not just educating the student, you're educating the parent. I think that's really, for what you do in your early childhood classes, super important, because you're speaking to this as like a family activity, not just music lessons for a 1-year-old who probably won't retain the music lessons and the content positioned as like music lessons, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I don't want to downplay it. I don't, it's
right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. This isn't like, drop your kid off and I'm going to teach them how to sing Twinkle,
right.
Twinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a family activity. And did you know ... everything that's happening during these years? And this is why we do this. And being 10 years in, I've learned a lot, and I committed to deepening my education in the subject. Mm-hmm. So it's something that, sets me apart from competitors. And I have seen, the results of that and the appreciation that I get from the caregivers. Right. Isn't that a great thing when that happens? When somebody says to you, like, man, that thing you said, you're like, wow, you were listening.
Mm-hmm. So some of the things that I've seen that maybe set studios apart. So I'm going to take it out of your world and make it a little bit more broad. And in part, I'll just talk about my own studio. So obviously the things that I highlight are our bands and the community that comes with that. Those are really big points that I focus on. And not only is that in my marketing, but it becomes the things that are important to nurture in my studio with the staff and with the families. And that's a big focus. I've seen other programs who do like really high quality videos of their performances, which I've thought were really cool.
Yeah.
I've seen other programs that do high production music videos with their students, like, multi-track audio and like really slick video. Those are really cool. I've seen studios that offer on-site recording, so recording studio stuff and other tech. One of them that is sort of fresh in mind is, you weren't on this episode, but I spoke with our friend Tony Parlapiano, who founded Popmatics. This was episode 95. And his curriculum is piano, but he focuses on playing by ear and creativity. And it's so contrary to the traditional way of presenting piano that sets him apart in a big way. He even says that he doesn't teach his students how to read music.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I want to put the caveat in there. That was episode 95. Great episode. But his students are typically not beginners. So before everyone rails on Tony for not teaching how to read music, most of his students already learned to read music. So I think those are all very unique perspectives and positions that I've seen. For listeners and try and figure this out, one of the questions that I would suggest posing to yourself is like, what are the unique problems that you might be solving in your studio that might spark some ideas?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the example of Tony, the unique problem that he's solving is he's dealing with students who've been playing piano for years. He told me even some of his students have degrees in music and they don't really know how to write and create. So that's a very unique problem that he's solving. So that's something that makes his studio stand out from others.
Yes. Yep. I love that. When thinking of like the traditional studio setting, unlike mine, those are the things I thought about. The band program is a huge one, right? When you have something so unique like that, lean into it. Make it, a focus of your programming. Things like different curriculum, right? Different approaches other than just, the traditional methods that we've been using for decades.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like Tony's leaning into that. That's great.
Yeah. And so I think those all fall in my mind in the category of features, right? Like What do you offer? What are the things that are features of your studio or your program, things that you do, how you present things? What goes hand in hand with that, I think, though, is, and again, I go back to this being like a marketing problem. Well, the marketing choices that you make, how you're presenting your program and how you're presenting your brand to the wider audience. And again, I'll use an example from my own studio. I spend a decent amount of money on a pro concert photographer to come shoot photos at our live shows, at our concerts. And this photographer has a very unique style and a cohesive look to all of his photos. So visually, that's something that sets my studio apart from other studios, because so many studios use stock photography of a kid smiling, playing an instrument. I can't tell you, and I won't mention the photos, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same smiling kid on multiple different music school websites. And, I get it. It's like you're building a website, you got to have photos, You go to like whatever the stock photo services are and you buy the photos that you need and you put them up there. But I've seen them, like same photos on multiple websites.
Yes. We've had this conversation before too, and we're in agreement on this. Like, we spend money on the photographers, and it's really important to have authentic and real photographs of your studio. And
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and you spend the money on it so that you have this cohesive look. But as we're talking about these features, sure, these are all of the things that make you stand out. So how do you demonstrate this to potential clients, right? You demonstrate it by hiring the photographer, right? And showing the people what it is you do.
Yeah, and I think that's just one example.
Oh,
and there's other visuals to make your studio stand out. And this is the weird thing, because it's not going to be, it's almost this subconscious thing from the parent's perspective or the prospective student's perspective. But if you take care to present these things like a cohesive color palette, for instance, across everything, right? That's going to feel more professional and more cohesive and just more together. Maybe you had mentioned how you really get into parent education. The way in which you present these subjects, that then becomes a marketing choice that you're making. And will it resonate with everyone? Probably not. But the people who pick up on it it is going to resonate with them. And that is what's going to allow you to stand out among other of those studios. This is all about, I guess, building your brand and your look. And you do this with your photos too. I've seen like all the cool little frames that you have with the photos that you use in your studio, and pastel colors.
Yeah. We have a very defined color palette. When any new content is created, I mean, we use the very specific hex numbers or whatever it is, Yeah. We use a lot of circles. Yeah. And if you do this work up front, if you create these color palettes, it makes your job easier when you're going to create content.
Yeah.
You just pull from the palette. It makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked a little bit more. So I have a note about storytelling over features. Again, that's one of the things that you do with your education. I do that. I feel like I do that a little bit with some of my social media content. And when I say storytelling over features, what this might look like in practice is maybe highlighting students in your social media posts. But I don't necessarily mean, here's a picture of this student who just finished book 2 and now they're moving on to book 3. Congratulations. Or they're holding a sign that says, I just finished book 2. Yes, that's good, right? We want to celebrate those kids. I'm not saying don't do that, but that's that baseline again, right? If every student is doing that, what is the story that you can bring into this, right? What is the unique aspect of this situation? Not just, hey, this student finished book 2. And then next week, I'm going to show you this other student who finished book 2,
Yeah.
Yes, that individual student is proud of that. Yes, the parent of that student is likely very excited about that. Great things. But how can you present it in a way that's, again, not table stakes, not that minimum requirement?
Storytelling, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I do that more anecdotally, like within my studio with parents. I have a hard time telling those stories through social media. That's just a me thing. That's personally. But like,
And I only bring that up because that is a very common thing I see from lesson studios. And again,
Yes.
not knocking it. It's like, that's great. That's a great starting point. It's great content. But I'm saying, all right, now go deep with it, right? Because if you go that extra mile, it's the difference between like you're doing C work and like doing A+ work, right?
Yeah,
What's
for
going
sure.
to elevate it? The last one I have on my list, and this is one that you already kind of started talking about, was community presence.
Yeah. That's big for me. That's really important.
It is big for you, showing up at local events, partnering with other businesses and other organizations in town, being very visible in the community.
Yeah. I think it sets you apart. It's like, I mean, it's a marketing thing, right? Like being
It is,
seen. You get
yes. It's a
you
marketing
get
thing, but it's not
recognized.
promotional.
Yeah.
And there's like there's a fine line there, right? There's an authenticity versus making it promotional. Hey, we're going to be at this thing. Stop by and sign up for free lessons or whatever. Or sign up for one free lesson. That feels more promotional when you are consistently partnering with other community organizations or with events. It's that, slow and steady wins the race. You're out there a lot,
Yeah.
That's what
And
makes you stand out.
Yeah. And if what we're doing is building community, we talk about that all the time,
Yeah.
then like I want to be out there with my community. I want to be the person that gets called because they know I'm good at what I do. I bring my community with me. I draw a crowd, right? I want to get the calls. I want to be that person. And I'm offering this to my families too, coming together again, like making our community that much stronger.
Yeah.
I'm not unique in this, in that, we have many classes throughout the week, but you only often see the kids that are in your class, right? Rock band is the same. But what about when you're doing these events throughout the year where everybody comes together, the broader community within your studio, right?
Yes.
Strengthening and building that. I think that is so great.
And people choose businesses that they feel connected to. So if they've already seen you in the community multiple times, oh, there's that lady doing the classes with the babies again.
I am that lady. Yeah. Yep. Yes, right. For sure.
I get it too. There's that rock guy.
That rock and roll guy.
That rock guy. Yeah. But if they recognize you from that, then yes, then they already feel kind of connected, even though they might not know you. So yeah, it's, again, these are marketing choices. This is what I mean about it being fuzzy, and it's hard to really dial in because there's a zillion possible choices, but each studio needs to sort of figure out what's going to work for them and what to lean into. Yes. Because anything can work.
Right. And I wrote that in my notes too, like don't try to be everything to everyone, right? That's not what you want to do. Find out what you do really well and lean into that.
Yeah.
Right? That's the idea here. What makes you stand out? What makes you unique? What are you good at? What do you specialize in? That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned that vintage drum shop earlier, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's as funny as it sounds. The kind of crotchety, like, we're going to teach you how to play for real. We're going to teach you how to learn. That, I mean, it stood out. It stood out in my mind, right? I still remember it 2 years later. Not for me, but man, did it stand out, because it wasn't like, we make music lessons fun. Instead, it's like, you're not going to have fun in these music lessons, but you're going to learn how to play.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a whole other topic too, right? Like we've talked about this before, like marketing to your desired audience.
Sure.
Right? We don't want just anybody. We have specific clients in mind that are a good fit. So if you don't want to have fun, then don't promote fun. Just promote, right?
Right.
Yes. And I mean, I know teachers that are like, you have to have this much experience and you need to be like an active performer, and that's who I want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. All right. I think we'll put a pin in this one, but what I'm gonna welcome, because this is such it's hard to find that uniqueness. It's hard to figure out, how do I differentiate myself when you're so close to it, right? You kind of have to be 10,000 feet above and
zoom out.
Look down and see like, okay, how am I going to stand out amongst the competition? So I'll welcome anyone that want to email us and bounce ideas off. Hit us up, info@rockschoolproprietor.com. And anything else to add, Mandy?
No, that sounds good.
All right. Cool. Well, we'll see you next time. All right.
Thanks, Don.
Bye.
Bye.
If you have topic suggestions or questions, please contact us at info@rockschoolproprietor.com. We'd love to hear from you and hear suggestions for future shows. We've put together some free resources for teachers and studio owners over at rockschoolproprietor.com and a private Facebook group called The Modern Music School. Please join us over there. On social, I'm at rock.school.proprietor on Instagram and John Kazicki on both LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify are always appreciated. And if you enjoyed the show and gain insight from our conversation, then we count that as a win. All we ask in return is that you pay it forward, and please share the show with someone you think needs to hear it.